First contact. The Galactic Council had always considered humans peculiar. While other species proudly displayed their military might, humanity maintained only a modest peacekeeping force. They were known as traders, diplomats, and occasional mercenaries, useful but hardly threatening. That carefully crafted image shattered the day the Sijec arrived. Ambassador Sarah Chen stood before the council, her expression grave. "Distinguished representatives, we must warn you about the approaching Sijec fleet. Their intentions are not peaceful." The chamber erupted in dismissive murmurs. The Arthosians, with their crystalline bodies, chimed in disapproval. The Vorkai delegates clicked their mandibles in amusement. "Human Chen," the Arthosian prime spoke, "your species' paranoia is well documented. The Sijec seek only to expand their trade routes." The ambassador's hands tightened on the podium. If only they knew what humanity had seen in the encrypted Sijec transmissions they'd intercepted. 3 days later, the Sijec obliterated the Arthosian colony of New Crystal. No demands, no warnings, just destruction. The council scrambled to respond, but their limited military forces proved ineffective against Sijec quantum weaponry. As colony after colony fell, the council turned desperate eyes to Earth. Admiral James Rodriguez sat in the dark of his underground office on Luna, reading reports of the latest Sijec attacks. A hologram flickered to life. The council's emergency session. "Humanity," the Vorkai speaker pleaded, "you must help us. Your worlds will be next." Rodriguez smiled grimly. "Mr. Speaker, humanity has been preparing for this day for 3 centuries. We never trusted the galaxy's peace." He pressed a button, and across the solar system, mountain ranges began to move. Asteroid bases revealed massive hangars. Gas giant mining stations transformed into fortress worlds. "Operation Sleeping Giant is now active," Rodriguez announced. "The Sijec aren't the first species to mistake kindness for weakness. They will, however, be the last." Hidden Arsenal. The Sijec Supreme Commander, Varthol, watched the holographic display with growing unease. The humans were supposed to be weak, philosophers, and merchants who had somehow stumbled into space. Yet the footage from their first engagement told a different story. The Sijec fleet had approached Earth's Jupiter, expecting to find only mining operations. Instead, they found hell. The gas giant's numerous moons had transformed into fortresses. What appeared to be simple mining platforms unfurled into weapon systems that shouldn't have been possible. "Supreme Commander," his tactical officer reported, "human vessels are different. Their ships show signs of both biological and mechanical integration. They're adapting to our attacks in real time." Varthol's secondary hearts clenched. The humans hadn't just been hiding weapons. They'd been advancing their technology in secret, testing it against simulated versions of every known species warfare doctrine. On Earth, Dr. Elena Santos activated the quantum core of humanity's first revealed superweapon. "Project Phoenix is online," she announced to the War Council. "The Sijec's quantum weapons rely on destabilizing matter. Our countermeasure doesn't just block their attacks, it redirects the energy." The War Council watched as a massive Sijec dreadnought fired on an apparently defenseless human colony. The beam struck a shimmering field and reflected back, tearing the attacking ship apart. 300 years ago, Elena continued, "We realized that the galaxy's peace was fragile. While we genuinely sought diplomatic solutions, we never stopped preparing for war. Every trade mission gathered intelligence. Every cultural exchange studied potential enemies. We built our defenses not just to win battles, but to survive extinction events." The counterstrike. The Sijec expected humanity to defend. They weren't prepared for humans to attack. Operation Thunderbolt began with a seemingly routine Sijec assault on a human mining colony. As their ships moved into position, thousands of FTL signatures appeared behind them. The human fleet had copied the Sijec's own tactical data and used it to predict exactly where they would strike. Captain Maya Patel stood on the bridge of the HMS Shiva, watching the battle unfold. Her ship, like all human vessels, represented decades of hidden advancement. Its hull contained self-repairing nanomaterials. Its weapons combined technologies from a dozen different species, all improved upon in secret. "All ships, execute Pattern Omega," she commanded. The human fleet moved in perfect coordination, their formations shifting like schools of fish. The Sijec's advanced targeting systems couldn't lock onto vessels that moved with such organic unpredictability. But the real surprise came from what appeared to be debris floating in space. The Sijec had ignored it, assuming it was wreckage from previous battles. They were wrong. Each piece was a dormant drone, waiting to be activated. Thousands of them powered up simultaneously, swarming the Sijec ships like mechanical insects. On their homeworld, the Sijec High Command watched in horror as reports flooded in. Humanity wasn't just fighting back, they were systematically dismantling the Sijec military advantage. Every Sijec tactic was met with a precise countermeasure, as if humans had spent centuries preparing specifically for this war. In truth, they had prepared for every possible war. The Sijec were merely the first to trigger humanity's contingency plans. Price of victory. The war's toll mounted on both sides. While humanity's preparations gave them an edge, the Sijec's fanatical determination made them dangerous opponents. They began employing suicide tactics, sacrificing entire fleets to destroy single human strongholds. Commander David Chen, no relation to the ambassador, led a task force deep into Sijec space. Their mission: to disable the quantum weapon production facilities that made the Sijec so deadly. As his ships approached their target, he received a transmission from Earth. The Sijec had discovered one of humanity's few genuine weaknesses: their compassion. They began holding civilian populations hostage, threatening genocide if humans didn't withdraw. The War Council faced an impossible choice. "We knew this might happen," Admiral Rodriguez told his officers. "That's why we developed Project Exodus." Across human space, massive underground shelters began evacuating endangered populations. Ships that had been disguised as civilian transports revealed their true nature: heavily armed rescue vessels designed to break through any blockade. The Sijec's hostage strategy backfired spectacularly. Freed from the need to protect civilian populations, human forces switched to full offensive operations. Their ships, no longer constrained by the need to defend, demonstrated their full devastating potential. Commander Chen's task force succeeded, but at a terrible cost. The quantum facilities were destroyed, but half his ships were lost. As he looked at the casualties list, he understood why humanity had hidden its military power for so long. They had wanted to avoid exactly this kind of devastating conflict. New Dawn. The final battle took place where it all began, near the ruins of New Crystal. The remaining Sijec fleet faced off against humanity's combined forces. But this time, humanity wasn't alone. Other species, impressed by human valor and humanitarian efforts during the war, had joined their cause. Supreme Commander Varthal, now understanding the full scope of his species' miscalculation, did something unprecedented. He opened a direct channel to Admiral Rodriguez. "You could have conquered us all centuries ago," Varthal said. "Why didn't you?" Rodriguez's response was simple: "Because we remembered our own history. We remembered how close we came to destroying ourselves. We built our arsenal not to dominate, but to prevent domination. We hid our strength not out of deception, but out of hope that we'd never need to use it." The war ended not with the Sijec's destruction, but with transformation. Humanity revealed another secret: they had developed a way to safely disable quantum weapons. They offered this technology freely to all species, including the Sijec. The Galactic Council was reformed, with humanity taking a leading role not because of their military might, but because of how they had used it. They had fought not for conquest, but for protection, not for dominance, but for peace. Ambassador Chen stood again before the council, but this time her message was different. "We kept secrets not because we didn't trust you, but because we wanted to trust you. Now we offer everything we've learned, all our advances, all our discoveries. Let this be the beginning of true cooperation. The Sijec, humbled but not broken, became the strongest advocates for the new order. They had learned firsthand that appearing weak didn't mean being weak, and that true strength lay not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to know when not to. The galaxy had changed. The peace that followed wasn't based on ignorance or deception, but on mutual understanding and respect. Humanity's greatest secret wasn't their hidden arsenal. It was their unwavering hope that it would never be needed again.